everybody. Hello, my name is Kleinbub, and I'm the founding editor of Pink Trees Press. Thank you for coming out tonight to celebrate Naming a Hurricane by Madeline Artenberg. Pink Trees Press began in 2012, publishing small batches of handmade books. In 2019, Pink Trees Press started origami books, and the simplicity and low cost of these books allowed Pink Trees Press to reach a wider audience. In 2020, Pink Trees Press published the Silver-Tongued Devil anthology, edited by Anthony C. Murphy and myself. This was our first mass-marketed book, and it was archived by the New York Public Library Tompkins Square branch and was included in the exhibition, Indie Indeed, 50 Years of Independent Presses. Since then, Pink Trees Press has published 2 collections of poetry and a memoir. 2023 is an exciting year for the press. We began this year publishing Madeline's collection. I'm very excited that on Monday we went to press with Ron Combs' book, The Bookstore Book, a memoir, which is all about his lifetime of working in New York City bookstores. And Ron would have been here today, but he wasn't feeling good, and we miss him very much, and he's in our hearts. In this winter, we went to AWP, and Pink Trees Press had an off-site reading, and we were able to get our poetry books into Open Books Bookstore in Washington. I just returned from Eureka Springs, Arkansas, where I was able to get all the Pink Trees Press books into circulation at the Eureka Springs Carnegie Library. It's very exciting. If you're ever in Arkansas, you know where to find our books. We're also planning to have Jane LaCroix's book released later this year. And for the very first time, we'll be going to the New York City Poetry Festival, hosting a reading and a book table. But tonight, we are here to celebrate Naming a Hurricane by Madeline Artenberg. Madeline once worked as a photojournalist, and once she discovered poetry, she sold all her cameras and she never looked back. Madeline has been writing poetry for over 30 years, and this is her first solo poetry collection. This book is arranged in sections representing the phases of a hurricane: disturbance, low pressure, storm, hurricane, and dissipation. It captures the human experience. The disturbance begins early in life with experiences with immigrant relatives, Jewish heritage, and encounters as a young adult. This low-pressure system evolves into a storm and then an all-out hurricane. A child survives the bullies of New York, the traps and snares of adulthood, overcoming obstacles along the way. This book comes to a wonderful conclusion as the dissipation of the storm shows a life well lived. The memories remain, the scars fade into a gentle wisdom. Thank you, Madeline, for trusting Pink Trees Press with your poetry. Madeline is a loyal friend. She has an eagle's eye as an editor, and she's an important part of Pink Trees Press. I'd like to thank everybody who helped along the way. I could never do this by myself. It really takes a team. I'd like to thank Phillip Giambri for his constant support, editing, and his technical expertise. Pauline Findlay for her editing skills and the suggestion for the ultimate layout of this book. And of course, all the delicious desserts she made for us today. And a very special thank you to Linda Wolkin, if she would stand so we can see who she is. She's waiting. Linda Wolkin is Philip's tattoo artist and the artistic expertise person for 3 of the book covers by Pink Trees Press. I want to thank Linda for her patience and her skills working with Madeline to understand her vision and to create this beautiful cover. Thank you. And thank you to Philip Treviano of the 14th Street Y for allowing us into this space tonight. Thank you. to Peter Kozlowski for graciously agreeing to videotape us, even though he says he no longer does videos. And thank you to Lord Gilbert for being our house photographer. Thank you to Claire Moed for her support and editing suggestions. And thank you to the Guy Barromios for coming here to rock the house. I'm going to begin the poetry reading with Madeline's poem called Candleman. Candleman sells jasmine-scented possibility. I take home a triangular candle, strike a match. Flame stirs, blue edge like peacock feather. Wick glows white, black edge spreads up from the middle. I pass my hand over the flame, reminded that cool colors emit heat, blow gently, engaging fire to dance. I am cool flesh with waiting wick. I will wait no more. Take a breath, heat moves up my spine. A second breath melts colors. My core is lit. My spine is wick. I do not wait for Candleman. I do not need a match. And now we will have Ella Smith reading Chosen Seats.
Chosen Seats. His nose curved like a pot-bellied stove. Grandpa was a 6'2" episode in my land of 5-footers. We'd quietly walk along Bay Parkway, stopping when I pointed at jujubes or Superman comic books. When he caught my finger in the foam hat of his evening's Rheingold beer, he poured me my own in a jelly glass. It's good. It's medicine, he said. Grandpa rode his wooden rocking chair in front of the bedroom window like an Orthodox Jewish cowboy. Traditional leather straps wrapped around his arms fluttered as if fringes on a suede jacket. When I read out loud from library books, he pointed to letters. On the next visit to the candy store, we brought a black and white notebook modeled like a cow's hide. He practiced A, B, C's and capitals and lowercase. I could not break his habit of writing from right to left. Once he took me by hand down the parkway to a synagogue, up a staircase to the balcony, filled only with women and girls. Grandpa let go my hand and reappeared downstairs among hundreds of men wearing caps like his, swaying, praying, buzzing like bees. He wet his fingertip to turn the page. I leaned over the balcony screaming, "Grandpa, don't leave me up here. I'm not like them. I'm your English teacher. I'm your Rheingold girl."
Thank you, Ella. Next, we have Estha Weiner reading The Gardener.
I brought the glasses just in case. Madeline asked me to say a few words about Madeline. And I'm really happy to do that. When I double-checked with Madeline about whether she came to our Writer's Voice class 15 years ago, she said, January 2006. From the beginning, her care and commitment to the class was unshakable. Even as occasionally we smiled at what she put at the bottom of her poems in process. Draft number 5. Draft number 7, draft number 10. I don't have to tell him everything. but even bearing witness to what those drafts ultimately produced did not prepare me for the stunning culmination that is this book, Naming the Hurricane. What our girl Madeline hath made. Brava, girl, brava. And here's Madeline's poem, The Gardener. I knew my grandma, her plump spotted fingers cajoling dough flat, sprinkling a cow's worth of farmer cheese into each blinza. I knew her naked on weekend mornings. I would tie and retie corset strings until the breasts no longer hung like worries as I bound them to her. I knew my grandma, but not her eyes, sunken, tending to a garden behind them. I knew her, but not the colors of the flowers or the land where the garden grew in.
Thank you, Esther. Now we have Phillip Giambri reading Holiday in Pamplona and The Crow.
Holiday in Pamplona. Annual running of the bulls has taken place in Spain since medieval times. Heat rides me in the back of the truck. I pray to stay steady on the stones, slippery with blood and fear. Run safely ahead of the horns and the hooves. Be alive at the end. Every other day, I am rooted to the ground like a 900-year-old trout, like a 900-year-old olive tree that I tend. I pick up fallen fruit, collect them in canvas sack around my neck. Every night, I sleep shrouded in sweat, dream of silent trees surrounding me, stuffing my body into a bag. When the sun rises, they let me out. We arrive in Pamplona. I start off slowly, bulls a good distance away. I blink, they're at my back. Then screams, a pileup of runners, beating of hoof on bone. I run like a saint on fire. The cursed canvas bag drops from my neck. My lungs escape from their slatted cage. I dart like a swallow through the Plaza de Toros, burst into the ring, fall to my knees. The bull's right behind me. I bless Saint Fermin. For 3 minutes, I am faster than any bull. Pride sticks to me like morning dew. One by one, the animals enter the ring. They each stand, wounds trickling before the unmoving matador. They will die this afternoon. I'll return to the silent groves. This piece is called The Crow. Hitler committed suicide in a bunker on April 30th, 1945. We followed his shrapnel tracks across Western Europe. If only we could track back, his acts might be undone, back to when he spoke through an artist's palette, not yet with blood-soaked tongue. When he looked into the pool of Narcissus, stony eyes glowering, did he enchant the flocks around him to see an Aryan god? Too easy, he must have thought. More challenge to turn skin into lampshade, bone to ash. Not toys glausome, he said. Nature is cruel. Oh, murder's captain, scavenger of remains. When the crow goes into a deep hole, it is finally done. May veiled eyes see. Thank you.
Thank you, Phillip. Next, we have C.O. Moed reading Colors, The Last Word, and Mother Said.
It's an honor to be here and to read these. And as I've told you before, When I reincarnate, I want to come back as one of your poems. I'm working on it. Colors. In the yard, popular girls in 5th grade surround me, laugh at my green blouse and blue skirt. Your colors clash, your colors clash. My head is bowed so low I can only see pink poodle skirts above black and white saddle shoes. The bell rings, taunts stop. Inside again, Miss McGovern begins the art lesson. We repeat after her. Primary colors are blue, yellow, and red. Secondary colors are combinations of primaries. Blue and yellow make green. Red and yellow make orange. Blue and red make purple. Brown is a mixture of all colors. Outside, green grass and leafy trees, risen from brown earth, salute blue sky. The last word. The gravedigger picks up a mud-clump shovel, pushes it into one of the mounds, insulating my father from worries that cut short his life. His younger sister, my Aunt Bethel, pushes to the front. Guilt for my father's sacrifices throws her into the grave on top of the casket. "Take me instead, take me," she cries. The gravedigger isn't sure whether to lift her out or throw in more dirt. The older sister, Selma, falls to her knees, beats her chest, screams, "No, me! I've nothing. Broken engagement, retired from millinery." My aunts wail, expect my father to rise, plead with them like always. Remember how lucky you are to live in America. The gravedigger picks up his tools and leaves, the weight on top of the casket heavier than any dirt. Mother said, after house service, "You're not leaving this house without your sweater," Mother said. "If you don't take it, you'll catch cold, it will turn to flu, you'll die, and then I'll kill you." Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Claire. Next up, we have Gordon Gilbert reading Kingdom and Ode to an Acorn.
I didn't start writing much or doing spoken word till 2008, so more than half of you here were on the scene way before me. But it wasn't long before I met Madeline, and I always loved to hear her heart-wrenching at times, always really from the heart and sparing nothing about her own life. So I'm very honored to be reading tonight. Kingdom. She was too beautiful under the lacy crown of bride. Dark curls and eyes had drawn me to claim her. How had it come to this? Beauty still present but unyielding. Her heart once pounded against my chest as I opened her until it rained rose water. Now a vessel has ruptured. I've almost died. She has stopped bleeding. A fearful crone guards her entrance. I've lost my wife, gained a mother, dictating how much, how fast, how often, stopping me in mid-bite. I can only retreat to my porcelain kingdom, lock the door, take the throne. I spread open my Fanny Hill, imagine her bottom under my hand. Here, I never worry about my job, never stammer and blush. It's a simple kingdom. Pressure rises, it's released. My sad heart knowing it too will burst one day. Ode to an Acorn. I took you from his gravesite on the day of the unveiling. You, hard on the outside, father, barely wrinkled. Perhaps you were in his knickers when he escaped on a steamer bound for Ellis Island, rattled around when he stopped short, fell out of his suit pocket when they lifted the casket. Little Acorn, on you is writ, here lies a life not fully lived. You are planted on my shelf next to books of my poetry Father never got to open. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon. And next up, we have Chocolate Waters reading Brooklyn Rush Hour.
Hi, oh now I can see everyone. Nice. Madeline, congratulations. This is wonderful. Madeline and I have known each other for, 2 or 3 decades, a few years here and there. We met in the Hudson Pier Poets workshop with Stephanie Dickinson, who unfortunately couldn't make it tonight. But I have watched you grow as a poet over the years and as a person. And I know she's grown as a person because she's grown as a poet. I can figure that out. So. All right, this has always been one of my favorite Madeline poems. It's called Brooklyn Rush Hour. My mini dress rides halfway to crease of thighs, triple degrees inside F train, droplets down track legs, stuck to man in front, and guy in back, like cheese sandwich, pressed on grill. Train pounds into stoppings, starts, pull out, pounding. Back guy, falling wedges, knees, hint of hand on my backside. Brooklyn slips by windows, hand slips past borders. Guy works hand up dress. What a fuckhead. That was my line, not yours. What a creep. Organ pressed to legs. I am silent red like cut tomato on shelf. Seed of screams opens. Hey, creep, get your hands off me. Lady, he says, I wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole. Well, sir, I happen to know you sure don't have no 10-foot pole.
Thank you, Madeline. I'm sure many women who have been on the subway have had some kind of experience like that. All right, next up we have Kryssa Schemmerling reading Tibet, Land of Snows. And if I butchered your name, please, you could pronounce it the right way.
Schemmerling. Not too bad. I'm used to it. Does this, am I echoing or? Good. Do I sound, okay. Well, I just wanted to congratulate Madeline, who I've been in workshops with over the years, and I'm amazed at this. I don't remember all of these poems. I think some of them I remember, but this is not one that I remember, but I really liked it. It's called Tibet, Land of the Snows. Bound by bamboo to Mist Mountain, Panda Haunch sits hungry in the tree den, a distraught Buddha lumbers about for food, spies two blank eyes. Rocks shift, reveal a monk's body. Panda slumps safe against shrub. Padded feet hook a bamboo shoot, growing through a hole in the monk's riddled chest. Eating bamboo, end to blood-soaked end. Thanks.
Thank you, Kryssa. And next up, we have Pauline Findlay reading Role Model.
Congratulations, Madeline. Thank you, Father, for the Daily News comics and for Nancy Drew books that you hid in the bathroom clothes hamper. You never knew I'd find them. Age 10, I had a master in literary porn. Lolita. Fanny Hill, Lady Chatterley's lover, story of O. Yet the most dogged of your secret treasures was the long seafaring tale of a young first mate. After years of all stripe of cruelty, he spiked the whiskey, then fled the captain's bed for the final sail. Oh, Father, we too wanted to escape, but you never left her, and yet you never stopped her from coming at me, week upon week. Fists, rods, nails. You know, your mother, you'd say, oh, mother, I knew your wrath, but not your biggest secret. My sweet grandmother, my rock, had made hell of your childhood.
Thank you, Pauline. And now I give you the star of the show, Madeline Artenberg, who will read Rouge of the Flute, How Do You See Inside a Vortex, and Imagine Your Finger as Scalpel. Madeline Artenberg, everybody.
First of all, you're all hired as actors. This is incredible. I want to thank the same people that Linda already thanked. Again, special thanks to Linda Kleinbub, publisher and chief editor, and editors Phillip Giambri, Pauline Findlay, Claire, Moed, and Estha Weiner. And also thanks to Philip Trevino for this place, and all the people who helped bring this event to fruition, and the band. So I'm already crying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read excerpts from the author. It's in the book, so if you bought the book, just excerpts so you get a taste. This once silent, bullied, friendless girl thanks you for going on this journey with me. As a kid, my saviors were Howdy Doody, Mr. Rogers, Lucy, Nancy Drew, the Bookmobile, Dick Clark, Soul Train, Perry Mason, Elizabeth Taylor, James Bond, and my grandparents. Every time I took 2 steps forward and then fell back, I gave up. But the open road was as enticing as a novel. I would never look at the last page of a story first. So I ventured I had to keep going on the road and learn to trust it. One of the joys in recent years is that me only turned into me too. In public school, I couldn't speak in class except to raise my hand first with the answer. I won the medal for best overall student in the public school 6th grade graduating class. Only 3 people clapped in assembly. Finally, I made my first friend at 11 and a half years old. I'm going to pause, because I want clapping to make up for those things. I threw myself into the world after college graduation. I was wife, failed Spanish teacher, disco queen, cocktail waitress, world traveler, wife again, actress, licensed hypnotist, media buyer and planner, peace activist, and photojournalist. The photo agency told me I should crawl on my belly or shimmy up a pole to get better shots. The minute my first poem shot out, I sold my cameras. I immediately understood that only I could birth my poems. And this is Ruse of the Flute. On the afternoon ride to my uncle's, I can't stop giggling at Mother's jab that his hairpiece looks like a slab of chopped liver. Stop laughing like a hyena, she says. After the trip home, I practice flute to Mahler's number 9. The first sweet notes calm me until pounding almost unhinges the door. 5'1" mother curses me in Yiddish English, eyes spinning, teeth bared in a two-fisted drive to send me back to unborn. Her face the same as earlier on our afternoon visit when she passed the den, caught me on my uncle's lap. She didn't catch my attempts to move away, or his increasing pressure on my wrist, or the vice around my waist, skewering me onto the terror underneath, growing. And I wrote this during the pandemic. This is How Do You See Inside a Vortex? Whole worlds hooked in place on the news, whites and blacks, blacks and blues. Can't order nevermore for black lives unmattered. Can't order pandemic to be demoted to night terror. Only nevermore we can reach is no longer swallow our whole tongue, just the tip when necessary. How do you see inside the crack of a windpipe replayed around the world? My recurring nightmare of black Boston professor I didn't marry. Police a threesome on our daily walks, our hand-holding, their flashlights dimming our longing. I let those backward winds push me away from our path, looted. How do you go from not breathing to breathing? Inhale your breath, exhale. Inhale their breaths, exhale. Didgeridoo circling the globe blows the knee off the earth's neck, smashes it to ground. With only one leg to stand on, ignorance topples, and we rise on our black, brown, yellow, white, red feet, toenails starred and striped. And this poem came during the pandemic. We had to use a different thing to sign in the cash register and something else, whatever. So all of a sudden this poem came out. It's called Imagine Your Finger a Scalpel. What do you see in the mirror? Merely shapes or every blemish and flaw? How you look to definers? What would you do if your finger were a scalpel? Growing up, I held Archie's Betty and Veronica next to the mirror. They were Venus, I was Pluto. I'd stare at my face throughout the day, redesigning, dreamt of incisions, especially to my nose. Bullies everywhere, in the family, in the street, in school, screaming at me, ugly, ugly. Thicket of bangs met black cat's eye glasses above my frozen unsmile. When I stuck a toe in the dating pool, boys had me at the first caress of my face. So beautiful, they'd say. Never believed it. Knew they used those words to score. Nowadays, my high school and college photos surprise me. I hereby affirm I'm beautiful, inside and out. I hereby affirm I'm ugly, inside and out. I've put down my finger. Now please put down yours. Thank you so much, everyone, for doing the work. Thank you for all your support. Thank you very much. Do you want a sad one or what? What do you want? Oh, yes. For Phillip, he likes this first one. By the way, band, thank you so much. And the band is here symbolically and literally. If it wasn't for music, I don't think I would have made it. It was the joy in my life. It was when my mother left the house to go shopping. There was Dick Clark, all that stuff. I learned how to dance, just the joy of all that. So band, thank you. And also TV, movies, and sweets. We were stuffed, you know how they, fuzz you out, so we were stuffed with sweets like 10 times a day, so. Okay, Apostle. Bless me, Mother, for you are gone. I still sin in the hallowed halls of cinema. Nay, I am wiped clean after each showing. Like an apostle, I followed you, Mother, followed you, queen of the double feature, followed you into forgetting myself, you hard edges. You taught me to bless the moving image, sweet and tart fruits doled out in 2-hour portions. You taught me to slip into other skins as easily as we slipped into disappearing. There was no need for the talk between us. The cinema sirens showed me their game. Natalie, Doris, Elizabeth, Marilyn, bad girls and good, seduced by rock-hard jaws. When the show was over, I returned to wanting what you could not reach. Returned to waiting to live, to sin, to be cleansed in the hallowed cinema of beginnings, middles, ends. Thank you.